Welcome you into another edition of Argo Sports Weekly. I'm Will Kennedy along with Jeff Burkhammer, the head coach for men's basketball here at the University of West Florida. Basketball in full swing. In fact, home stretch for you guys coaching. A split last week, one at home, one on the road, both pretty good ball games.
Really good games. We lost to league-leading West Alabama in a great game. I missed a shot at the end to win it, but was really happy with how we played. And then we go on the road and win at Auburn Montgomery, who's a tough team to guard and play against, but we found a way to win on the road.
We're going to talk about some of the players that are developing at this point of the season. Specifically, Jared Henderson has really played well the last couple games.
Jared's been terrific. He's done a lot of different things. He's made some threes. He's driven the ball and not run over anybody. And he's rebounded and run the floor, played one-on-one. He's really played well here late in the season.
Let's take a look at the highlights from last Thursday when you had West Al in the gym and a chance to win the game at the end, which we'll see that in a second. But what did you like about this game other than the fact that Jarrett was knocking down everything he looked at early?
Well, I just thought we played very hard. We played a complete 40 minutes. It was a great basketball game, back and forth against a good team. We defended well. We rebounded well. We did a good job of moving the ball offensively and spacing the floor. Really probably our most complete game, even though it was a loss.
Career high for Jarrett with 28. John Brown played well, too. A lot of slashing and getting to the rim.
John's had a great year. He's had a tremendous freshman season. Continues to play well. He battles and plays hard every night out, and that's what I really like about him.
Henry, we talked about it after the game on the broadcast, really had to hold his own inside because they had some bigger bodies, and he got a little tired maybe at one or 2 points, but he did a nice job.
No, Henry's doing a great job. He's really man in the middle of our zone. He does a good job down inside of making it hard to play over top, and then he's scoring pretty well down there. So he's continued to improve all the way through his career, and he's playing his best basketball right now.
Really love the way Rashawn's teammates picked him up after he missed an open three with a chance to win it. You guys turn around and go on the road on a Monday night, and you were saying both teams shot it pretty well up at Auburn Montgomery.
I think both teams were 60% in the second half. Both teams really shot the ball well. We had 5 guys with 15-plus points, all of our starters in double figures. So really good offensive showing. We didn't guard quite as well as I'd love to, but they're hard to guard. They're hard to guard, and they made shots.
Jared had 21 and 9, so he continues that run of play. You were talking about Max with 21 points in that win. And when you get 5 guys who score 15 or more, is that just a thing of everybody's working together well?
I think so. We did a really good job moving the ball, sharing the ball, playing off ball screens, throwing back, throwing inside, driving it. We scored in transition. We scored a variety of ways in this game. That's why a bunch of different people got shots.
You've got what you got at this point. You did get Brian Chalifo back, and we talked about him kind of recovering from that, concussion. I think a lot of people with basketball don't understand it's such a physical game. He's back in the mix. You kind of know what you have at this point.
Well, I like what we have at this point. We got guys who are going to play hard. We got guys who are going to play together. They're all team guys. They're all bought in. And because of that, I think we're playing better.
What do you look for from here? Because you guys are kind of in that position where if you can keep playing well and you've won 5 of the last 7, you got a shot at the tournament here.
Well, I think that's what we have to do, just continue to play well, play one game at a time, and let's go on the road this week and find a way to win one and then get maybe a second one and just see what happens at the end of the season. We struggled early, but we're playing very well right now.
You guys are on the road for the next couple of games. It's teams at this point of the season, though, you've seen everybody, right?
Well, we're playing 2 teams that we've already played, and yeah, you've seen everybody at this point. We got to go play and play well, and we know what we're facing, and we got to go in and combat it. Shorter
on Thursday, that's the 7th coming up here, and then West Georgia on a Saturday. Finally, you'll get back home here after a while, but that's an interesting mix. I mean, Shorter's a team that you know that you can play well against. West Georgia, you guys got them here, but they're a good ball club. Yeah, they're a good team. That'll be a good road trip, our last long road trip of the year. Go to Shorter, a team that hung around here against us. They do that. They've done that all year long and haven't been able to get over the hump, but we'll have to go there and play well. And then we play a West Georgia team that I'm sure will remember that we played very well against them here. They didn't play well against us here, but they have good players, a good team, and we'll have to play well there. All right, Coach, thank you. Look forward to the Argos keeping things rolling. When we come back, we're going to check in with Coach Stephanie Lawrence-Yelton and a look at the UWF women's team right here on Argo Sports Weekly.
Neiman does the Mike and drill layup. Haley in the long 3. She knocks it down.
You can't stop it. That undeniable charge. So bright, so loud. It rips through the clutches of mediocrity. It breaks down walls, blazes past old ways of thinking. It's creativity, pure electric energy. What will you do with it? The University of West Florida. No limits. Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Just go do it. Go do it. If you're not in control, then who is? Live above the influence.
Water. It's life's most basic need. But there's a water crisis in our world right now. Nearly 1 billion people live without clean drinking water. About every 19 seconds, a mother loses one of her children to a water-related illness. The water crisis is vast, but we can solve it. Just $20 can provide one person with access to a clean water project in their village. CharityWater.org. Join us.
Welcome back into Argo Sports Weekly. Stephanie Lawrence-Yelton, coach of the women's basketball team, joins us, coming off another 2-0 week. You guys are on a roll right now.
We're on a 7-game win streak, to be exact, and that's the most we've had since I've been here in my 7 seasons here. So, you know, hopefully we can keep that rolling. Second
longest streak in the history of the program. In fact, I think tied for that. You guys been on this thing we talked about at the last show where you're rotating these opponents in and out in a 2-week span, and there and then here and vice versa. Let's talk about the 2 games a little bit last week and kind of what you liked as we'll roll some highlights over the top of this. You guys were home last week on a Thursday night and started with them scoring a bucket, and then it went all your way.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if they made us mad by hitting the first bucket of the game, but then we went on a 25-0 run to finish that first quarter, and we never looked back. It was a great game to get some young players in, give them some experience this time in the season, but I was proud of our performance.
28-0 run, in fact, into the second quarter as you guys got rolling. Belle really had a good game, and she is closing in on some marks, really shooting the basketball well, especially from deep, which she does.
Yeah, Belle Bistro, she's right now on track to break the three-point shooting record. Now, she's got to have some good games here. We've got to extend this season a little bit so we can get some postseason games under our belt. She'll get some good opportunities to break that record, but I'm proud of her performance. I'm proud of her growth. You know, she's having an exceptional year, a very different year than she's had the last 3.
Ended up being a 30-point win over West Alabama last week, and Tony again played a good game, and you know, Fanny and Haley, it wasn't, nobody had a huge night, nobody over 20, but it was a good team performance. And you mentioned you got some of your bench in.
Yeah, part of those numbers being a little bit lower from some of those star players for us is because we allowed some of those bench players to come in and play significant minutes. But they've earned that. They're working hard in practice. They're doing what we asked them to do, and it's, again, a great opportunity to get them in against other opponents, against other teams that next year they're going to have to play against those kids.
You guys had the weekend off, no games, and go up to Auburn Montgomery on a Monday night, and that's a team that you'd beaten, you know, previously at home, and you kind of knew they didn't have as many bodies as you know they'd probably like to have at this point of the season. It's always a tough road trip, though.
It's always a tough road trip when we travel on the same day. So, but we got there. Our players, I thought, were really prepared. We played pretty steady basketball, and then all of a sudden in the second half of the game, the fire alarm goes off. And so that kind of squashed our momentum for at least a few minutes, but then we were able to pick back up and walk out with the win.
I know, coaches, maybe you have always wanted to tell a player, go pull that fire alarm, get me out of here if you have to. But you had good performances. Haley Neiman gets her first double-double of the season. Tony throws in her 15th. When those two are going well inside and out a little bit, it's tough to guard you guys.
They are really tough players to guard because they play 2 very different games, and you can't double team one without the other one scoring, and then they're working well together, passing the ball to high-low passes for each one of them. They're playing good basketball. I couldn't be prouder of them.
Talk about the record here, 17-4 overall, 11-3 in the conference. You mentioned last show, the games are kind of ticking off the calendar real quick. There aren't that many left as you kind of position yourself and get ready for the conference tournament.
Yeah, 6 regular season games left now, but a win on Thursday night this week solidifies a berth into the GSC tournament, so we get to put one of those games back on the schedule. And right now we're doing a little creative something with our team of a jar of marbles. So right now there's 6 marbles in our jar, and then each game we play, we take one of those marbles out. Well, hopefully after Thursday's game, we add another marble in to get ready for postseason play.
Think any of your players have ever played marbles as kids?
No,
That's a lost art
I doubt
right
it.
there.
I doubt it.
You guys are at Shorter. You get to go up there and then West Georgia as well. It's kind of maybe your last long road trip here?
This is the last long road trip with a 2-game swing, except for obviously if we make it to that conference tournament in Birmingham. But yeah, this has been a tough week. We were on the road last night, didn't get in until late, have practice today. We're working on practice Wednesday, and then we're right back on the road to play those games this weekend. So tough stretch, but we feel like we can play well.
We'll get you back here, get some of that home cooking before too long. But good luck on the road as they make the road trip to Georgia. When we come back, we're going to spend 60 seconds with one of our Argo athletes and also get you ready for some of the spring sports that have just started up here on Argo Sports Weekly.
You can't stop it. That undeniable charge. A thunderous spark. So bright. So loud. It cuts through clutter. Rips through the clutches of mediocrity. It breaks down walls. Tears down barriers. And blazes past old ways of thinking. It demands to be seen, heard, and understood. It's creativity. Pure electric energy. What will you do with it? The University of West Florida. No limits.
We are the coaches of women's basketball. We are leaders and teachers, dreamers and winners. We are professionals who conduct ourselves ethically and with integrity. We place the education, safety, and well-being of the athletes we coach above all else and teach them the fundamental values they need to succeed in life. We are coaches united for the good of our game and those who play it. We are the WBCA.
Water. It's life's most basic need. But there's a water crisis in our world right now. Nearly 1 billion people live without clean drinking water. About every 19 seconds, a mother loses one of her children to a water-related illness. The water crisis is vast, but we can solve it. Just $20 can provide one person with access to a clean water project in their village. CharityWater.org. Join us.
Facing life's difficulties takes strength and determination. Whether it's physical challenges or struggles you can't see, it takes strength to ask for help when you need it. Learn how other veterans have reached out and hear their stories of strength and recovery at maketheconnection.net.
Welcome back into Argo Sports Weekly. We are set to make the transition from winter sports and basketball to some of our spring sports. We'll be talking baseball and softball here in a second. Our Argo athletes, though, they spend a lot of time on the field, on the court, practicing and playing, and in the classroom as well. They are true student athletes. They also go out into the community to represent UWF, and we went with some of our student athletes to Oak Crest Elementary in Pensacola to help the school district celebrate National Literacy Week.
Everybody's got it? All right, and I'm taking you to the annex. All right.
The kids' reactions, for sure, because they get so excited to have different people in their classroom and then have an athlete in their classroom, and they're just really attentive and love to ask questions.
We're on the UWF women's golf team. I'm Alex, and this is Kayla. You can share all of your knowledge from your college experiences and high school experiences, and they enjoy, hearing about the future and what they get to look forward to. I ride a bike. I eat ice cream.
What about trying to read a book upside down, sideways?
It's a little difficult, but you just gotta get the angles right
Teamwork.
and it works.
That's
yeah, teamwork.
I'll clean up then. Bet you can't. Why? Because I'm in the basket.
Where's your mouth?
Men's and women's golf were represented in the trip to Oakcrest Elementary, and they are getting ready. In fact, underway. Women have already played one tournament here in the spring. We got a chance to check in with both programs, talk to both coaches about what you can expect from the Argo golf teams this season.
We have to fill those number 1 and 2 spots that graduated with Chandler and Henry, so we have to have some guys step up. We got some new guys in, obviously, trying to raise their levels up a little bit. We'd love to get to the match play portion again. You know, you never know what can happen from there. You have to have good depth from 1 to 5. Kind of what we're trying to do is build our depth. We have, 2 players that are eligible this semester, so that'll add to the depth. We played pretty well the last couple of tournaments. Really, last 3 we played pretty solid. Christian won the last 2. He really played very well. His game's really matured and got to the level where he's confident now that he can compete and win. So that's, big for us. We have to get our consistency better from 2 to 5. If we can do that, get that a little more consistent, and now with the 2 new players that we have this semester, I think we'll be all right.
For the fall, it was really observation time for me. So I got to see how the girls were working hard and what their tendencies were. So we did make a few adjustments for the spring, really having more focused practice rather than just going through the motions of things. Kayla, she's an amazing person. She is a leader for sure. She's somebody that all the girls look up to, and if I have her on my side or Paloma side, she can convince everybody else, whether it's a rule change or something I'm trying to implement. The players really look up to her. She's a good role model. I do have a younger team coming in. There are a few that have that leadership potential, but I think once they have that year of experience under their belt, coming in as sophomores could possibly fill that role that's going to be lost with Kayla. There's definitely a lot of competitiveness, which is nice. That's what we really are looking for the 2019-2020 year, is just a more competitive team, a team that really pushes each other. So they're really preparing for this first tournament, which is February 3rd, and we're all very excited to get going on that.
The West Florida women's golf team finished tied for 8th at the World Golf Invitational down in Lakeland in their first tournament of the spring. The men are set to get things teed up and teed off. That is coming up February 11th and 12th. We like to spend some time with our Argo athletes away from the field of the play. This week we're spending 60 seconds with Gulf South Conference Softball Freshman of the Week, Teala Howard. All right, we're 60 seconds with Teala Howard from the UWF softball team. This is where we get to meet some of our athletes away from the field. We're not going to talk about sports. We're going to talk and get to know you a little bit. Where are you from, Teala?
I'm from Lake Butler.
What do you like to do when you're not playing softball? I know there's a lot of practice and you spend a lot of time out here. What do you do when you're away from the diamond?
I just like to hang out with my friends.
We talk to different athletes. They listen to all kinds of different stuff. What is Teala into?
I listen to country and pop.
What about video games at all? Do you do any of that?
No, I actually don't do any video games.
Kids, listen, Teala knows what she's doing. What do you want to study while you're here at the University of West Florida?
I'm actually trying to get into the nursing program.
Why nursing?
Well, I graduated high school with my CNA license, and it's always been kind of interesting to me.
See, a lot of people say, oh, I can't do nursing because of the blood and all that kind of stuff. You're good with that?
So far I am.
This is 60 Seconds with Teala Howard. Come out and see her play softball here at UWF. Coming up next, we will talk to Teala's coach, Ashley McLean, about a very successful first weekend for the Argos on the softball diamond. Stay right here on Argo Sports Weekly.
You can't stop it. That undeniable charge. So bright, so loud. It rips through the clutches of mediocrity. It breaks down walls, blazes past old ways of thinking. It's creativity, pure electric energy. What will you do with it? The University of West Florida, no limits.
Water. It's life's most basic need. But there's a water crisis in our world right now. Nearly 1 billion people live without clean drinking water. About every 19 seconds, a mother loses one of her children to a water-related illness. The water crisis is vast, but we can solve it. Just $20 can provide one person with access to a clean water project in their village. CharityWater.org. Join us.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
We're back on Argo Sports Weekly. Time to turn our attention a little bit to some of the spring sports. We've got Ashley McLean, first-year coach of the women's softball team here at the University of West Florida. Congrats first. You got your first win and then got a couple more over the weekend. What did it feel like?
Felt amazing. These girls came and they just showed out for the weekend.
What were your nerve levels like before that first game? You've been an assistant coach in the program for a couple of years. You played here. Is it different as the head coach?
It is. I mean, you're constantly thinking about different situations in the game and trying to get our players into scoring position, so everything's constantly going during the game.
You got more balls in the air when you're the head coach, right? Just trying to keep everything in line. This tournament in Gulf Shores, you guys opened close to home but not at home.
Mm-hmm.
Really some great teams in for that one, and a chance to kind of find out a little bit about your team early on. What did you learn over the weekend?
We have a lot to work on still, but I mean, we have a very talented team. A lot of the girls bring different things to the table, and so we're going to take it and learn from it and try to get better for this next weekend.
What about the mix with this team? I mean, I looking down the roster, you've got some veteran players and you got some young talent in there too. I mean, I know as a coach, you're relying a little bit on those veteran leaders and trying to nurse that young talent into the season.
Our captains, our leaders they're just doing a fantastic job with our younger kids, even with each other, and just everyone's getting held accountable.
You, not that far removed from being a player, what's the adjustment like for some of your young players? And you've got, a freshman who's a freshman of the week, Teala Howard this week for the Gulf South Conference off her strong performance. What is that jump like coming from high school softball to college?
I think she's a little overwhelmed the first weekend, but she just settled in and played her game and just trusted herself. She didn't try to do too much. She didn't try to do anything fancy, and she saw that that's all she needed to do.
The competition that you saw over the weekend, is it this early in the year, did you see anybody that, a win that you said, that's a great win?
Right off the bat, St. Leo, that's a great one for our program. They went to the World Series last year, and they have a solid team. They played well the whole weekend. All of our GSC teams, a good bit of them were there, and, it's loaded. So it's early still. Everyone has a lot to work on, but, you can still see the talent that's out there.
I think like 12 of the 13 right from the GSC.
Yeah.
You guys go 4-0 for the weekend, so not a bad start with that competition around. Hitting and pitching early in the year, you kind of gauge where you are. You said you guys hit the ball real well. Was there anybody in particular that was swinging the bat well?
I think Teala Howard, she just owned that plate when she was up there. She made things happen. If she soft slapped or if she bunted, whatever she needed to do to get on. Rachel Wright was also seeing the ball great. She did a great job for us leading off and came in with some big RBIs, and also Jacqueline Poley.
You guys will stay on the road, go play some more tournament softball. I think coming up here, a little trip down south into Florida a little bit. What do you expect from that tournament?
We're going to see some big talent there. A lot of those teams have been to the World Series in the last couple of years, so we're going to for sure get to see what's out there, and even for postseason, what we might face later down the road.
That's the leadoff classic coming up, and then they'll be home. That's coming up on the 13th.
Yes.
Spring Hill with a doubleheader, so
Yes.
we'll get a crowd out here for that, right?
Yes.
All right, good luck to you guys. 4-0 start to the season for Coach Ashley McLean and UWF softball. Coming up next, we'll check in with a veteran coach, Mike Jeffcoat, the baseball team, as they are underway.
You can't stop it. That undeniable charge. So bright, so loud. It rips through the clutches of mediocrity. It breaks down walls, blazes past old ways of thinking. It's creativity, pure electric energy. What will you do with it? The University of West Florida. No limits.
I'll be right back. Hi! You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
Water. It's life's most basic need. But there's a water crisis in our world right now. Nearly 1 billion people live without clean drinking water. About every 19 seconds, a mother loses one of her children to a water-related illness. The water crisis is vast, but we can solve it. Just $20 can provide one person with access to a clean water project in their village. CharityWater.org. Join us.
Back here on Argo Sports Weekly, joined now by Mike Jeffcoat, the head coach of the baseball team here at the University of West Florida. You guys are underway. Had a weekend series, and boy, no jumping in the shallow end. You're right in the deep end with a pretty good Florida Southern team.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've been doing that for the last 8-9 years now. Lance Necro, the head coach, and I are pretty good friends, and we like playing good competition. They're in the South region. They're going to compete for a regional and a championship every year. So, we really want to, try to see where we're at and give us an early barometer.
What did you like about, we'll start with the good stuff, what did you like about what you guys did over the weekend?
Well, first and foremost, I thought our team competed, and I really felt confident they would do that, and it's opening weekend. If the team doesn't compete opening weekend, when are they going to compete? But more importantly, they competed when we were behind. I thought they competed all the way to the last out, all 3 games. The third game, was another game that we were behind early and came back. We made some critical errors, and that's what it boiled down to on the weekend on who won the series, who made the fewest mistakes defensively. Told them that. That's nothing new in baseball, but particularly what I think is 2 very evenly matched teams. We came up on the short end and made a few many mistakes out on the defense.
You guys took 1 of the 3, and they were all close baseball games. The things that you need to work on, your relief pitching, you had some solid outings from a couple of guys that came in and locked it down.
Yeah, I was very pleased with the pitching. Like we said, with the starters, Andrew Picasso Friday night didn't have a good night, a lot of walks, so did their starter. But then our relievers after that, I thought, Tony Rossi on Saturday, true freshman, had a good start. Gave up a run or so in the first inning, as well as Kuchera did on Sunday. But, all those starters ended up getting to the 5th inning, and then our relievers, did a great job. Middleton on Saturday went 3 1/3 or so. Hatch on Sunday, 4 2/3, went another out more than Kuchera did. We saw some good things from Floyd, even though he had command issues, but he was dealing with the heavy rain while he was out there on Friday night. And really, very solid outing from about 8 pitchers. Got 8 deep into the pen. And saw what we can do.
Take that early in the year, I know. What about from a hitting standpoint? I know there's a lot of times people will talk about who's ahead when you start a season. Are the pitchers ahead of the hitters or vice versa? You've been around baseball a long time. Does it work one way or the other?
Yeah, well, you hope you find where the pitchers are ahead of the hitters, and that's what normally is the case, just because of the difficulty of hitting a baseball. And the pitchers have the advantage by being able to change speeds and, throw things in there that the hitters don't know what's coming. But, it's kind of been a back and forth affair where I think our offense is pretty good, and through the January we'd win some pitching and, win some hitting. But I think we're pretty close to where we'd want to be and what we're evaluating. Obviously we just got to get the W's on the board.
The Gulf South Conference is tough. Every year you got a lot of opponents, and I know you, like you said, you like to get right at it and find out where your team is. And so home for that first set, you'll go on the road down to Rollins, right, and then play down there. What do you expect from that?
Yeah, well, Rollins is going to be another test, and these first couple weekends before we start conference, we try to play the Sunshine State schools, because they're going to be in the regional, and that's going to be the national picture there on where we line up. So this is another big weekend, another opportunity for us to kind of establish ourselves in the pecking order, and also get us ready for conference the following weekend. So we look forward to these trips, and we're getting away from home. They got to learn to win on the road, so it's another test for us to see where we are.
There'll be a bunch of home games here. I know we're at the beginning of it. Talk a little bit about the bats and the way they're swinging. Estrada had a real good series. You got a couple guys you got to lean on them early, especially the ones that have some experience.
Sure, and we have several guys in the lineup that definitely aren't hitting on all cylinders yet, and that's expected after the opening weekend. So we still have a lot of production that's still left out there in the lineup that can still contribute to the team, and those guys know that, and we still have confidence in them. It's not going to be a lot of lineup changes at all. Maybe do a little maneuvering around with the lineup to see if we can get some guys that are hot up to the plate a little more often, and that's what you have to do in college when you're going weekend to weekend, and maybe only one midweek game. We don't have any this week, so we got to stick with what we got and see if we can get it going.
All right, congratulations on the win. I know you want to win some more and get that done at Rollins College coming up this weekend. Remember, you can follow Coach Jeffcoat and the Argos and all our sports on GoArgos.com, and check us out both on air and online. Thanks for watching Argo Sports Weekly. We'll see you again next time.